Welcome to episode 148 of When the Kids Go to Sleep. We don't have any sponsors because we're not sellouts. Roll the intro.
When the kids are counting sheep, when the kids go to sleep, dreams and memories, when the kids go to sleep.
So if you want to sponsor the podcast, please email us at sponsor
Bananas.
when the bananas go to get peeled.
I have bananas here, so it's sponsored by our bananas today.
No, we have some potential sponsors in the works, but we don't want to bombard you with advertisements. So we try to just keep this a raw, unprepared, open conversation where anything can happen.
Unprepared and very open.
Anything
can happen.
And sometimes it does. And sometimes later on, we're like, whoa, anything happened, and maybe we shouldn't upload that. But we do anyways.
Then we do.
Because we just want the AdSense dollars. No, that's not why. Why do we do it? Why do we upload the stuff that we do?
Because it's fun to put the information out there and see what happens.
Is it valuable information is
Sometimes
my
it's
pregunta.
Entertaining, but maybe not valuable. But other times it's valuable, maybe not as entertaining. But I think there's always a mix of both. If it ever was just invaluable and unentertaining, then maybe we should just not do it.
Amen, sister. Because when I am searching for my content, I want good content. I look for entertaining and valuable. I like a good 50-50 mix. I want something that is going to give me real life benefits. That's why I'm always a fan of nonfiction. Fiction to me is like, I just will watch a movie.
You know, that's something we have in common. As far as like books go,
I should give fiction books more of a chance. Like reading the Harry Potter series to me is a giant waste of time. And don't be offended. It's my personal opinion.
You know, and
I would rather read like a self-help book, but like I know that there's value into getting into those stories and to allowing and to me it's just all about like when do you want to spend that time to recreate in your mind, which could be video games, movies, YouTube videos, or reading a book or whatever it is. So I guess in a sense, I would prefer reading a fiction novel over maybe watching 24 hours of Netflix and chill, because I think that's like Netflix and melt your brain to like mush just staring eyeballs.
Wait, you say you would rather read fiction books?
Right.
No, I watch movies.
Well, I'm saying if you're going to level them in a way that would be like more beneficial to you.
Agree.
And
definitely.
Because the reading, I think, helps engage the brain and the eyeballs. And
and there are so many classics that I always think, I'll read that someday, and I still haven't. Plus, like my favorite movie is Pride and Prejudice. I've never read the book. I should read the book.
And she loves the language.
I love the language, so I'm sure I would love the book.
I think you would, because here's what would happen. You've watched that
so many times.
Expletive, the worst expletive you can think of. Movie. No, just kidding.
What?
No, she loves that movie. And I feel like she has a crush on the dude. That's why she watches it so much.
No, I don't.
What's his name?
It's just a fun story. It's Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy, why don't you just confess your love, Mr. Darcy?
But he does. And she denies him because it was unsensitive.
Well, here we are on the podcast. Thanks for downloading it.
I've been trying to tweet for questions for the past 5 minutes. Hold on,
okay. You think about the tweeting that you're going to tweet. Speaking of podcasts, I am inspired by other podcasts. Just listen to a podcast that was suggested by Joe Rogan, who was, if you don't know who Joe Rogan is, he was the former host of Fear Factor. Loved that show. Probably
we watched Fear Factor
the first real reality shows that there were. And I thought he did a great job as host. Anyways, now he has his own podcast, Joe Rogan does. And apparently him and Casey have been tweeting at each other.
Oh.
Because my brother is Mr. Hunter Man and just shot himself another gigantic 6x6 bull elk in the mountains of Colorado. Big. He just brought home like 3 coolers of meat that will feed our small butler army for the next 6 months. We have
longer than that, 2 years, I'd say.
We have a lot of game meat. We're going to start making steaks and spaghettis and tacos and lasagnas and I'm hungry. Anyways, listen to Tim Ferriss podcast with a host, or Tim Ferriss was the host of his own podcast, but he had a guy on his podcast named Jocko Willink. He just had a new book come out called, and I'm going to give this guy a free shout out and plug because what this guy has done for our country. This dude is, if you were to cast in a movie like, okay, now they're going to call in, like, like when the president needs help and like the country's about to go down and it's like, who is the best Navy SEAL Marine / has seen it done it all type guy that we have that we could call right now and he could just come in here and save the world. This is that guy in real life. This dude fought in a battle over in Iraq. I don't want to mix up the details and mess them up because they're important. Jocko Willink, he has a new book out. Go get it, called Extreme Ownership. And this is the saying that he has that I love, and I think there will be some opposition to. But he has a saying that is this, maybe a life motto: discipline equals freedom. So just listen to a podcast that Tim Ferriss's podcast with this guy on it, and this guy doesn't do very many like public interviews, but this guy has fought in some of the most war-torn areas. Like, this guy he's a stud. He's like 230 pounds of pure lean muscle, and he's very, like, get stuff done. Anyways, I listened to that podcast, loved it. And now we're here on our podcast, and I feel like we should take it more seriously. Let's do push-ups. No, it motivated me. I was like, God, I gotta get back to CrossFit.
I know.
It's been 2 months. Whoops-a-daisy.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Oh, what did you tweet?
Discipline equals
yeah.
freedom.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked for questions. There's a lot coming in. I'm just gonna, get this one out of the way real quick. There's a lot about baby number 6. It's not happening anytime soon. Calm down. Just saying. I'm not pregnant. I might look it because I like Halloween candy.
You're not.
I made the mistake of buying Halloween candy like at the beginning of October.
Yes.
Whoops.
That is a huge mistake. And honestly, I feel like it's a sabotage.
It is a sabotage, but I didn't do it on purpose because I hate when I go shopping for Halloween the week before Halloween and everything's gone. Everybody takes all the good stuff. So I'm like,
to get 50 pounds of
look, I'm going to get
candy.
this candy now. I'm going to put it in a certain place.
Dude, here's what I do. I eat my dinner like a good guy
and then
should.
Shay hunts around the house.
And then it's like after dinner, and I'm like, I know there's 5 pounds of candy hiding in the pantry, and so I go in there and I grab me a Snickers.
I don't hide it in the pantry, guys.
There's a
other
Starburst
places
in there. Oh, what's that? What's that I see back there? Twizzlers, little Twizzlers, mini.
It's
I
fun
want
to
to
have a
one of
mix
those.
of all those candies.
And I just take that like a little squirrel would grab his nuts, and stuff them in his cheek, or like like if you've seen that viral video where the raccoon runs over and grabs the cat food and like runs off with it like that. Is that what he looks like? That's what I do after dinner. I get my Snickers, and like that little raccoon runs over to the cat food and he grabs it with his paws like that. I get my little stash of candy that you sabotagedly and purposely trying to mess my belly line up so you look prettier and I look fatter and chubbier.
Hey,
and my little raccoon claws.
I
run off
candy
with my
too.
candy like this. And all of a sudden, my face is red and flushed.
If you
from all
just
the
downloaded
sugar.
this and you're not watching the video, that is one that you should maybe just take a gander at on YouTube. Just saying.
Blake, put the raccoon.
A lot of weird.
Me and the raccoon. Ready?
Right now. Sorry, that was loud. Anyways,
that was like that. That was like when the coyote falls down in the canyon.
I can't do it.
That was the worst coyote falls down the canyon impression I've ever heard.
You try it. That was better.
Why do you make that noise when you fall, when the Roadrunner makes you fall down in the canyon?
I don't know.
That rascally Roadrunner. Get in your way every time. All right, back to
what
Marines.
What are the kids being for Halloween, says Trinity asks.
Can we tell them what my idea was?
We had some ideas, but it's hard to get the kids on board to do like a theme.
Yeah,
yes,
they all want to be their own
your idea.
thing.
It's funny.
I thought,
or we should just do it. Are you wanted to do it, or you want to tell them?
We'll just
tell them.
We're not going to do it.
We're not going to do it.
Let's
Let's be honest.
To do it.
But it was going to be fun.
I thought we should. No, let's just do it. No, let's just tell them.
Well, why don't we tell them?
Now we built it up too much. It's not worth telling them.
Then we know who watches the podcast because they know already.
We're gonna all be Elsas. All of us.
All of us. Wouldn't that
7
be funny?
Elsas.
Daxton and Brock and even Gavin. Anyways, I thought it was funny.
Hilarious. I'm so glad we wasted 1.3 minutes.
I know, seriously. Guys, we're looking at questions.
What is your favorite thing to do in the fall? You know, the regular crap.
You know.
Leaves and football and pumpkin crap. I don't know. That sounded jaded.
Anyways,
my nose
I
is
love
cold.
Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. I think Halloween trumps Thanksgiving, but I love Thanksgiving. And then Christmas trumps Halloween in my mind. Did anybody care? I just said it. Who cares?
Great job.
Do you check Halloween candy? Yes. I do check Halloween candy.
I remember why? For people poisoning the kids?
Yeah, and it sucks because like when I grew up, we even had houses where we could go and get donuts and they would give us ice cream cones. But nowadays, like everything has to be wrapped.
Who does that though? Like who?
I mean, it was a
how
small
often does
town.
that happen? I want to know, there's parents always checking candy. How often does that really happen where people purposely get candy and try to put poison in it and then try to give it out? I don't feel like it happens that often.
I don't know, but I mean, if somebody makes a homemade popcorn ball, and there's
razor blades in it.
I don't
razor
know.
blade
You
popcorn
never know.
balls.
Check
your popcorn balls before you bite it.
I think stuff has happened before, or it wouldn't be a thing.
Well, that's just messed up.
It
if you're
is messed
purposely
up,
gonna be
but
like, I'm
you
gonna
should
poison
always
the
check the
Halloween
candy.
kids, I'll tell you what, you're going, no, I ain't judging you.
I
but don't do
mean,
that.
I usually try to go to houses that I know. That's another one.
Here's what me and my brother did when it was Halloween time. We got rollerblades. And you know what rollerblades do? They maximize the candy receiving efforts because you double your time, if not triple it, when all these other kids are prancing
With
around.
rollerblades?
Dude, we'd have rollerblades on. We'd have trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat.
That's a good point.
Pillowcases. You got to have a pillowcase, right? Sturdy, lot of capacity, can hold a lot of candy.
And you can throw it over your shoulder.
You can hit it, like if you get in a fight, maybe like you're rollerblading around.
Somebody tries to steal
and there's like
your candy
an
or your
opposing
rollerblades.
kid rollerblading gang coming the opposite direction. Bam, right there with the pillow sack full of candy.
Here's a question. Do you still give candy to like those teenagers that don't dress up?
Yeah, but you make them go through the rigmarole of the trick or treat, and you say, "What are you?" and you treat them like a little baby.
Okay.
And then they get the candy. Oh, you're so. You gotta say trick or treat.
Yeah,
the kids are coming like trick or treat. Like, what are you, 30, bro?
I think if you're taking a littler kid around, it's not as bad. But if it's just like a group of teenagers and you're not dressed up and you just bring your pillowcase around, like that's just rude. At least put some like devil ears on or something, horns.
I don't know if it'd be considered rude. Maybe just lazy.
Lazy. It's supposed to be fun for the
Not
people that are
polite.
answering the door too, though. Like that's what's fun about Halloween is you
see
open
it.
the door and you're
That's
like,
the
"What are you?
trade-off.
Oh my gosh, look how cute you are!" And if you're not dressed up, then it's not fun. So you just want candy.
Freeloaders. And that's what's going to be talked about in this upcoming democratical debate
Freeloaders?
tomorrow night. I think so.
Are y'all gonna watch
These
that?
freeloaders coming to the doors, not wearing Halloween costumes and expecting to get candy.
Seriously?
What's up with that, Hillary Clinton? I want
What
these
is up?
issues debated heatedly. Next
Heatedly.
question. Do you have questions on there?
I'm looking at them.
We're reading your tweets. Okay, Alinsalot just asked, Shekar, what is the scariest situation you've ever been in? Which is a great segue to that podcast that I was just mentioning with Tim Ferriss and this Jocko Willix guy. This dude was in this Battle of Ramadi. That was the name of the battle. That is like literal bullets flying around your head. If you've been paintballing, maybe, and not a fair comparison by any stretch of the imagination, but the anxiousness,
the physical angst
with the paintballs whizzing around and that pain of that.
Even though that
steam.
angst is like an excited angst, I think the other kind is.
But real life threatening bullets that could kill you.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in that situation? Once on accident when my cousin was shooting at a pheasant right above my head.
What? You
with
never
a
told me
12 gauge
about
shotgun.
that.
I ducked. Probably the fastest duck I've ever ducked.
Don't tell me which cousin. I'm going to give them a call. Seriously?
But like, what is the scariest real life situation you've ever been in where it's like, like imagine
Fight or flight.
Yeah, fight or
mode.
flight kind of instincts. Or if you've ever been in a car accident, everything slows down. When I got in my very first car accident, when I rolled my Toyota Tercel with Andy and Trevor in it, everything went. I was in a living room, upside down, and we were like in this living room, and I watched the glass first crack. I seriously feel like I saw every crack go through that windshield.
Did you have your seatbelt on?
listen, don't get the details in the way of my cracking glass.
Guys, wear your seatbelts and do what your parents tell you.
I can't remember.
Won't have bad things like that happen.
But to answer the question, Carl, I don't know. What is the scariest moment? I've been blessed with not many. And I think, I don't know. I hope to never have to be in scenarios like that. But, like I remember early on, fights, like seeing a fight in real life was scary because you're like, whoa, that's like seeing physical violence for the first time in real life. Like maybe one of the very first scariest moments I had is when I got like smacked by like a very large man because I wasn't helping his son in a fight that I was watching.
I think against the rules.
I was at the bus stop.
Don't hit other people's
I don't say any names or anything, but this kid and this other kid were fighting. I was friends with both of them. I went to church with one and then lived next to the other one. Just 12, 13-year-old kids fighting, right? Whatever. The dad sees us fighting from his house, drives over, picks the kids up, slaps his son, slaps the kid he's fighting, and then comes over me and just full hand. This is like a big guy. He had like a tool suit on, just right across the face and the ear, like,
my gosh,
ringing. And that's for not helping him. Whoosh. And I was like, that was a scary moment.
Yeah.
But I persevered, and I'm here today to say I'll kick that guy's ass if I ever see him again.
Wait, what?
So like moments like that. That's what this guy talked about. This Jocko guy in this podcast about, can you handle yourself like in those situations?
I don't know.
Or like a bear. One time a moose charged me. That was really, really scary. I was at scout camp. There was a moose, this big giant moose that had like swallowed our loaf of bread. What? And so we were trying to we're just dumb scouts. We're like, we're going to go get our bread from that moose.
Oh my goodness.
So we're in the trees. This moose is right there. And he had swallowed an entire loaf of bread with the plastic around it. And then he's sitting there and he goes, bleh, and he regurgitated an entire loaf of bread with the plastic around it.
This is the weirdest story
I know. And then we're like, get the bread. And then we grabbed the bread. It was
you were
all
going to
slimy.
eat it?
It was more of it was like, we got to get our bread back from the moose at this point. We weren't going to eat it, but it was like victory mattered more. It's the principle of the situation.
You were doing him a favor because he would have choked on
Exactly. That. Anyways, and then we were trying to get pictures after he threw up the loaf of bread. And I was like, I still have the pictures. I'm like 3 feet away. And all of a sudden, that moose comes charging at me. And we're like in the middle of these trees. And I just turn around and just run full sprint through trees that I had to pick my way through to get to see the moose to take a picture. And we got back to camp and I literally had the most deep cuts on my arms and the film. Actually, no, I don't know if I have those pictures because that was one of the things is the film in the camera came out because I was running. But that was a very scary situation when it was immediate fight or flight decision where it's like, I'm going to die. I don't care about these trees or anything. And I didn't feel any of that pain until we got back to camp. And I looked and I was torn up so bad. But I was like, this moose is going to hurt worse than these tree branches. So how do you act in those situations?
Don't go taking pictures of moose after they steal your bread.
Yeah, moose will get
Life
you.
Lessons learned.
I think more people are killed by mooses than bears.
Have we been entertained and...
Have we been? Anyways, we're going to wrap it up because I have a very important conference call I have to get on to in a few minutes. Hopefully today, WTKGTS episode 148 of this episode with Shay and Colette Butler, a happily married couple for the last 13 years that has created 5 human people with their bodies.
High fives.
We appreciate you joining us, and we hope that it was entertaining and educational.
Yeah, we have so many questions.
But check out that book that I suggested, and go listen to that Tim Ferriss podcast, and tell him we sent you.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.
All right, bye.
There's lots more episodes. Like I said, you can go watch reruns and download it for free on iTunes.
Lots of kisses.
We'll stay up, just you and I, and we'll talk about our pretty life when the kids go to sleep.